Hello everybody and welcome to my Should I on Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Warhammer End Times Vermintide, or let's just call it Vermintide, is developed by Fat Shark, who are known for Crater, which I've never played, and Bloodsports TV, which I've never played. Now the former has somewhat of a bad reputation from what I hear. The latter actually doesn't. Bloodsports TV seems to be a very good game from what I've heard. I've never played it myself. But this is not about these other games. It's about Vermintide, of course. Let me just refocus here for a second. So, Vermintide, based on Warhammer, of which I know nothing about. I've never played Warhammer. I don't know Warhammer. I know that it's a very big world and has a lot of lore, and that's all I know. There is a games workshop in my city, in my town, but never been there. So, meaning, I'm not going to be able to talk about the lore of the game because I just don't know it. But in all honesty, this isn't the kind of game where it actually matters too much. However, what else is there to say about the game? Now, gameplay perspective, which is a bit more interesting, if you ask me. This is a Left 4 Dead clone, and I'm gonna repeat that over and over again because I have a couple of points to remember, and it's very important to understand what this game actually is. So it's a get from A to B kind of game without dying. And it's a 4-player co-op game. There are ways of playing it with bots, but they are not really, well, that great. So these are the different missions. From what I hear, there are 13 missions. As you can see, I haven't unlocked all of them. I have played all of these missions, at least these, and I think I've played the other ones as well through friends, and which had unlocked more levels. Now, the most important thing that differentiates this game from Left 4 Dead is the inventory system. So, and the different characters. You actually can tell the characters apart besides their look from each other, of course. You have different items. First of all, you have melee items, you have ranged items, and trinkets, which I haven't seen yet. Another thing that I will get to in a second. And, well, visuals. Now, the interesting thing about this game is that it's a melee-focused game, so the ranged weapons are very much just there for these are a lot better actually. Why didn't I stick to them from the beginning? This is a very melee focused game, which gives it a different spin on the whole scenario, on the whole horde mode. And the classes do handle differently. As you could see here, the Witch Hunter, for example, has a Zweihänder and pistols, whereas the Way Watcher, something like an elf, if you ask me, but I don't actually know, works with a bow and twin blades or a single blade, depending on what you choose, and they, of course, handle differently. Technically, yes, it is very similar, but yeah, the weapons do have differing speeds. You can attack several enemies at once, so forth and so on and so forth. The trinkets, no idea. I haven't seen a single trinket, never got one. And why is that? Now, when do you actually get new loot? You get the loot at the end of a level when you accomplish your mission, or by leveling up, because your characters get to level up as well. I have to say I don't really like this system a lot, because every time you don't manage to finish a level, you do gain some XP, but that is it. If you manage to gain another level, that's great. Otherwise, you're stuck with whatever weapons you have. So actually getting better equipment is somewhat difficult. Yes, of course, it's a reward. I get that. I understand that. But it would be nice to have at least the ability to trade weapons or to buy better equipment, because the starting equipment isn't necessarily bad. It's just some of the weapons aren't as good as others. This is the kind of game where it's always useful to hit many enemies at the same time, which doesn't work with all weapons. Now, another aspect to this game is you can take your weapons and fuse them, for example, to gain newer or get better weapons. Same goes with, and I might as well show this off since I have a few things that I'm not gonna use anyways. I don't like this. Definitely worse. And I don't like these either. And let's see, I think the dwarf also, yeah. Yeah, I think that was it. And I'm gonna fuse it. I'm gonna get a better weapon, but I don't know which one. 2 blades for the Waywatcher. So here we go. And that's basically it. That's how you... there is not too bad, actually. Not too bad. Not the best, but not too bad either. But I'll stick to my pre-forged ones. So, you can also upgrade your weapons when you have magic items. That's how I call them, at least. Or unique items. You can upgrade them. Same goes here, and you can salvage them for parts. Not too much to say about this game, this part of the game. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice implementation, and it's so far as well handled. I just don't like the fact that you can't trade, as I said before, and it takes a lot of time to get new equipment. Now, let's go into the game. Let's see which mission is somewhat... Yeah, let's see. Let's take this one, because it's not too time intensive. Now, as I said before, this is very much a multiplayer. No, did I? Yes. Oh, I'll leave it at that. This is very much a multiplayer game, and I have to say, it has its ups and downs because of that. Now, on one hand, you get to play with friends, which is always fun. You get to order people around, and you get to organize your whole run and your whole the whole run of the mission. So that is fun. That is very, very interesting. It's very engaging. However, at the same time, and this also is part of the loot system that I mentioned before, if you're playing with strangers, this can be very tedious, because in all honesty, they don't always play too well. If you're stuck with a bad group and you constantly lose one run after the other, it's just not gonna be fun at doing the whole thing over again without any reward. And it's very, very easy to not survive these runs. This game, I've been playing it on normal so far, and one guy isn't even moving. I've been playing it on normal, and it can get pretty dicey. It is somewhat difficult. I haven't tried it out on easy because I'm not a bitch. But in all honesty, jokes aside, this is a difficult game. You need a good group, an organized group, to manage the more difficult difficulties. I don't know. I can't. There's no other way of phrasing it. Sorry. Sounds horrible, but there it is. What can I say? So yeah, that's my biggest complaint, I would say, or one of my biggest complaints, that it's somewhat difficult, or maybe even too difficult, when you're playing with strangers, because there's also no Jesus Christ. This is another thing, very, very Left 4 Dead like, which I'm gonna just first I'm gonna talk about this and Jesus Christ, this is so hard focusing at the same time while not trying to die. Jesus Christ. So yes, it's very difficult to play this with strangers because you can't actually communicate. There is voice IP, but as you know, most people turn off their microphones or this part of the game for most other games, and they also do it with Vermintide. Now, the game actually, as a standard setting, has voice IP turned off, and I think I'm gonna die in a few seconds here. Might as well drink something, and here we go again. Yes, I'm still alive. This is great. This is good news. Reloading my gun. So, there are also no voice commands. There are no shortcuts, no okay, help me, no save me, nothing like that. So, You can mark enemies, special enemies, and I'm gonna get to that in a second, because there are special enemies with T, and you can also mark special items and everything. But it's this is very restrictive, of course. You can only mark things that that the game lets you mark. So I'm not a big fan of that. And like I said, there are no voice commands, so that's also an issue. If you want to say, okay, we're being attacked from behind, like there's no way of saying that unless you use voice IP, and most people will turn it off online anyways. I have to say I haven't been insulted too much during my playtime with this game. It's been only out for a week, so just give people more time and they will get angry enough to insult you in the most offensive ways. So far, it's been very mild. I've got a few fuck yous, but that's basically it. So far, it's been okay. As I said before, this is, of course, very heavy on the communication. Unless you have a couple of friends, it's very difficult to do this. Now, I made one of the biggest mistakes you can do in one of these games. I'm doing this by myself. I'm running around by myself. Not the smartest idea, but I have no idea where my friends are. Let's see if I can save this dude. Oh, I think it's the AI. I might have could have left him for dead. Now, isn't this great? Now, let's spend this time to talk about the visual design. So the visual designer, and I really want to point it out, I have the settings on somewhat medium. Most of the time it did run at 60 FPS when I had it on high, but it tanked every once in a while, especially with a lot of rats, or Skaven as they're called, in the scene, and that was a bit annoying. So this is what I meant. So you get a mission failed, and I leveled up, so that's something at least. Got a new weapon, but let's try this one. Bit of a longer run, but anyways, let's see if we actually survive it. But yeah, this yeah, the visual design. Here we go. So, oh, we're doing this again. Oh, come on, guys. Let's see if I can do better. So, the visual design I very much like. I don't know if it's because of the Warhammer universe. I have to be honest here. I assume it's this is already pre-designed, so to say. So, didn't mean to do that, and they just picked it up and put it into the game. But this game looks very, very nice. As I said before, it runs smoothly. I had to put it down on medium, but I'll get into the visuals a bit later, into the options menu. But the visual design is amazing. The sound design is also very great. Everything sounds nice. Everything feels appropriate. The characters, I really like the voice acting. I usually don't mention that because I usually don't care, because it's usually meh. But in this case, I have to say I really, really like the voice acting. The characters feel appropriate. Their voices, as well as the way their accents, feel natural. So I very much like that. They feel like characters, not just like stand-ins, which in a game where you're gonna look at the same 4 or 5 different characters, or 6 if I'm not wrong right now. Maybe that no, 5. If you get to see the same 5 characters all over and over again, it's important to make them interesting, and I think they did a good job with that. Same goes for the visuals. A few minor things are a bit annoying. It's sometimes I mistake the elf. Fuck it. The elf, I mistake her for a rat because of the fur on her back. And sometimes the dwarf is mistaken for a rat as well, because he's tiny. So it's minor details, not too bad. It's just a bit annoying, and it could be a bit more colorful. They try to give it some color, but it's a bit dreary from time to time. But what can you do? That's modern video games in a nutshell. So am I forgetting something? I don't actually think so. Let me just take a quick look at my notes. Oh, this is something I have to say. I had to throw my notes on my tablet because for whatever reason this game messes with my second display. So whenever I turn the game on, and I have it on 1080p, so regular resolution on my new display, on my new screen, but for whatever reason, yeah, it completely throws off my second display, so I can't actually look at my notes. It's a bit annoying, I have to say. And every time I alt-tab out of the game for whatever reason, so if you're that kind of person that uses their second display at the same time, you're gonna have some issues with this game. And every time I alt-tab out of the game, it goes into windowed mode and all of that. So hopefully something they will fix in the long run, but I don't actually know yet. So far they haven't done it, but it's only been out for a week, as I said before. Here I am, dead again. Oh, somebody's helping me. Like I said, this is very much a Left 4 Dead kind of game, so you can do this kind of thing, these kind of things. Now, the end of all is, of course, like, is it fun? Absolutely. The weapons handle very well. There's certain pack to the certain, yeah. It feels great slamming your whatever you're using. Oh, this is great. Did I mention these? I think I didn't. Yeah. So you have, as I said before, similar to Left 4 Dead, you have special types of rats, which, as I also said before, you can mark. They're pretty much copies of the old Left 4 Dead special enemies, special zombies. So you have a hunter, similar. You have a tank. You have a poison guy. All of that. You have an assassin rat, so to say, which is the hunter, and then what's nice is you have a Gatling, a rattling gunner. I like the pun on that. Which is, yes, actually a rat with a Gatling gun. Let's see if I manage to survive this. You have some extra mobility with the dodging, but I have to say it feels a bit. It feels a bit out of place, I have to say. I don't know. I don't really like it too much, the way it works. It's a bit slow, and I don't know. They could have done that better, but mostly this game feels good. However, in all honesty, it feels more like a mod than an actual standalone game. As I said before, the gameplay is almost similar to Left 4 Dead, just that it's focused on melee weapons. The enemies are rats or Skaven, not zombies. As I said, the visual design, the animations, everything looks great, everything feels great, but it misses its something that makes it a bit more special. Maybe this is something they will add in the long run. This is the kind of game where I expect tons of DLC, several levels, several more weapons, maybe more characters. Oh, isn't this fun? Now, what is exactly going on? I think the game froze. Well, oh no, it didn't. I had a few crashes. They fixed most of them, mainly while starting up the game. This is, of course, something where you can just look online whether, oh yeah, disconnected from the host. And I'm back in the starting screen. So, that's it for the gameplay. Let's go straight into the options menu. And by the way, yes, this is the main and options menu. There is no other main menu. The game throws you into this. No, this. More, yeah, right from the beginning. And my mouse is going crazy. So, you have the hero selection screen. As I said before, you have your 5 characters, you have chat, all of that is great, but most importantly, the options menu. Now, you have a lot to change here. You can turn off and turn on in-game tutorials, subtitles, the player outlines, very much like that. Minor details, very much like that as well. The more options, the better. Now, from a graphical fidelity point of view, you have HUD screen fitting, which fits it to clamps the HUD elements to the edge of the screen. VSync on or off. I have it on. I had some tearing, but Could be my setup, who cares, who knows. And separate from that, the graphics. So I currently have it on high. Yesterday while I was I did a recording of this already, but I don't know, I lost the sound file for whatever reason. It didn't want to record, but you have a wide selection of things, and what I really like, and I'm pointing at it with my finger right now because I can't do it with my mouse, it shows you the performance impact. I would love it if more games would do that. I very much loved Shadow of Mordor, Middle-earth. Very much loved that about the game, that it also gave you some input on, some information on whether how much it's going to affect your visuals, your gameplay as well. So developers out there, take note. And I'm going to turn this off. I don't know why it's even on. I hate motion blur. I hope I didn't screw up the visuals there. Yeah, keep changes. I never think about this when I'm doing my videos, do I? You have the sound, and as I said, I turned it on, but it's usually turned off from the beginning. Again, minor thing. I would like, because I do care about sound a lot, if it would give me the options to differentiate a bit more, not simply speakers and headphones. I have surround sound headphones, so something that is, to me, that is very important. Key bindings, not too much to see here. Everything's rebindable. There are no alternate buttons. Usually not necessary though. Oh, Jesus Christ. And you have, as I said, you have the dodge. Nothing too special. Everything else is very run-of-the-mill. Yeah, as I said before, you can mark or ping items. Yeah. And here we go. The gamepad. I tried playing this with a gamepad. It's okay. I didn't really like it. I'm very much a PC gamer for first-person games, for-person games in general. So this was a bit. I didn't feel good. It was okay, but it wasn't the best. Like I've played worse, but I've also played better games or played better setups. It feels a bit awkward. I just don't like it. Maybe that's different for you. So that is basically it for this game. Why, thank you, good sir. Yeah, that's it from me. Now, as I said before, is it good? Yeah, I mean, it's oh, and a friend of mine joined. Say hello, wave, say hello, and I'm gonna turn around. You don't have to see him anymore. So, is it worth it? Yes. I think if you're into this kind of game, of course, the genre is very specific. It has a lot of games there are a lot of games in this genre. You might think of Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2, Killing Floor, other Horde runners, of course. So it's a fun game. But considering the price, which is €29.99 euros, or your regional equivalent, of course. Jesus Christ! Stop humping me. That's what you have friends for, isn't it? He's gonna be happy when he gets to see this video. I'm gonna blur out his name, but he'll know who he is, or who he was. So yeah, I think regarding the price, it's a bit of a hefty sum, considering that in parts it feels like a mod more than a standalone game. But I've had a lot of fun with it. I've played about, let me think, 7 or 8 hours. I actually tried to get as much loot as possible. This is why I withheld the video for a while. Which I didn't. I didn't manage to see everything and to find out everything about the game. I haven't seen every level. There are 13 levels from what I hear. So, yeah. Is it good? I think it's fun. Should you buy it? If you're into this kind of genre, yes. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it. If your friends don't want to switch over to this game, I wouldn't much recommend it. Playing it by yourself is a bit boring. There's not a lot of communication going on, and it can get very difficult. That's it from me, guys. I wish you all a very nice day, and go out and go play some video games. Bye.